Introducing Joe Wesley. Our second guest is no other than the multi talented Joe Wesley, photographer, videographer, cinematographer, bodybuilder, YouTube personality, so on and so forth. Joe doesn't stop to amaze us with the ways in which he is able to navigate through creativity. Join this epic conversation where you will learn valuable information pertaining to the art of creativity. Sunday, March 17, 2024 at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Times over on Instagram, Youth Agency International HT. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me today. For today, we have a very special guest. We have an amazing guest. I'm not going to take a long time because we have a lot to talk about, and I'm so excited to have our guest here. Hold on. This way. So I'm so excited, ladies and gentlemen, to have. Oh, hold on a second.
Hey,
Hi,
hello.
hi. How are you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I am doing so good, looking sharp. I can see,
Thank
looking very sharp.
thank
I didn't want to bore people because I just wanted to jump into our conversation and introduce you as you are here with me.
Yes.
First and foremost, I really want to thank you so very much because I remembered on our last conversation series,
Hmm.
you did say that you would do it anytime. And when I had to start over and I reached out to you
Hmm.
a year ago, you were so quick to say, hey, no problem. I got you whenever you want to do it.
Of
And
course.
last year it was tough because I was not able to do it. You know, there was a lot of things going on in the back end.
Hmm.
And, you know, I had to put it off. But your attitude was never stingy. You was like, not a problem whenever you're ready. And this year, Mr. Busy, busy man, catch me if you can, man. And this still made it happen for me. And I just really want to thank you so very much. It shows your dedication to your craft. It shows that you are a man of your word. And when you say yes, it's a definite. You are going to make it happen, your integrity. And I am so very much appreciative of you. Thank you so much for being here with me
Wow.
today.
Well, thank you for having me. And yes, most definitely. So it's a pleasure of mine to be here. Uh, I mean, you here to interview me. How can I say no to that? So you're bringing awareness to who I am and what I'm doing within my life. So definitely, of course, and yeah, I'm here, and yeah, let's get it going. Let's get it started.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in. Hi. Um, Tell me exactly what are you into these days because you are definitely busy. We don't even see you on Instagram like that. So let the people know what exactly are you involved in this day.
Wow. So I'm involved with quite a lot, of course. So I have a production company which I partner with a few people, especially my cousin. It's called Ample Production, and we have a television series called To Each His Own. It is now on Amazon Prime, so please look it up. To Each His Own is on Amazon Prime, and it's also now on Tubi. All right, so and we're working constantly hard on other projects. So there's other projects that's been slated that we've already started filming, and that we're working on right now. And also I work with a nonprofit organization called RER Consultants, in which we work with teenagers. To sort of like help bridge the gap between the youth in the police department, so they can see that, they're people, just like us, and the police can really get a connection with the youth as well. So that's an organization that really work on bridging that gap between police officers and the community, especially the young black youth, the black and brown youth, so that they can, trust one another and not be so quick to judge one another, because at the end of the day, we all need each other. Um, and I work with, of course, MIA Legacy MIA Media Corporation, which is a black media organization, which we go out to the community and we pretty much promote everything that is black that is happening within our community. All of the events and so much, really. There's so much. And I work with other production companies as well that may need my services as a videographer, filmmaker, and of course, Joe Wesley Photography, which is my photography company, which I pretty much I'm shooting all the time, catering to a lot of people that pretty much needs a good photography service. So that's what I got going on right now. So it's a lot, but I'm able to manage it all, right? To be able to make the time to manage it all, So right now in this day and age, I live by a calendar. So if it's not on my calendar, then it's not happening. So yes. Oh, she went off. What's going on? Okay, you're back.
I touched the wrong button.
Okay.
Yes. So now, was the organization, is it the interview or probably the, because I saw you posted something on your Instagram and there were a few youth who were there and maybe a few police or security officers around and
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
describing your line of work to them?
Yes, so basically, I just started as far as introducing photography to the youth. So to help them see and understand that, photography is a path in life that could take you abroad, that could take you many different places, so that's RER pretty much work. There's so many services that RER provides, such as of how to properly take care of yourself, your skin, facials and whatnot, your dietitian that comes in and really talk to the kids about proper diet, proper eating, how to eat healthy and still eat foods that taste great but also healthy and that's good for your body. So there's a lot. So what you saw there was just my particular class, in which I was introducing them to photography.
Awesome. Now, Joe, let the people know exactly where you are located. I believe that you are in Florida, correct?
Yes, I'm in Florida. I'm in South Florida, pretty much Broward, Miami-Dade County. So I'm pretty much in those particular two counties, back and forth. So that's where I make my living.
Okay, great. Now, going from the fact that you said that these days you live through a calendar, which I can definitely echo because it was so difficult to get a handle of you. Um, Now, I want to know that what fuels that schedule? Is it your passion? Because you are pretty much a busy man, but you did say just now that you are able to maneuver with everything. So what fuels that? Is it the passion that you have for the work that you do?
Well, I love what I do. I love being behind the camera. So whether it's doing videography, whether it's cinematography, or even photography, I love being behind the camera. So I get clients all the time that needs my services, and also with the different organizations, I have to make time within my schedule and my calendar for these different organizations as well. So a lot of the things in which I do, they're pre-scheduled, so I put them on my calendar. Um, and I have to also make time for myself as well. So I find time within my day-to-day calendar to sort of like do even small tasks, because I also have to take time to edit photos, edit videos. So sometimes that may take a lot of time within my day. So And you mentioned it was pretty hard to reach me at times because oftentimes when I'm working, my phone is down. Okay, I kind of put it aside. So, like I notice sometimes where I would be tagged on a story, and by the time that I realized I was tagged on the story, it's like 2 days later, and I forgot. I wasn't even able to repost that story, and that's because I don't get on the phone. I don't get on social media as much as I would like to, because I'm so focused on being present with whatever that I have going on at that moment. So finding the time to actually get on the phone and do all of the social media stuff, it's rare. I may find a little bit of time within the day to do that, but for the most part, I'm actively busy. I'm actively working and focus on whatever I have going on at that given time and moment. So I cannot be working and picking up the phone, and so I wouldn't necessarily be able to fully focus my attention because I'm behind the camera. And being behind the camera is not one of those jobs in which you can, pick up your phone and respond to people, casually, because you have to definitely focus on the job at hand.
Excellent. Now, two things. Does it mean that now there's an opening for a social media assistant, maybe in the down the line? Maybe do you feel like if the calendar is going to continue to be so packed and so big that you probably will need to have someone to manage your social media, to insert, to reply, to see what you got going on?
That is something that I have considered, right? But but I haven't really taken the time to actually find who that person would be to sort of help me with that. But if I need assistance, it would probably be more on the business side of things, and opposed to the social media side of things. Because if I have that assistance on the business side of things, then maybe I can really focus on the social media in the way in which I would like to. But I don't know. That is something that I have to think about and carefully think about to see and how that can service me and help me with whatever that I have going on in my life right now.
Excellent. But I think that you manage it well. I mean, I did panic a little bit because I didn't hear back from you, but you called me right in there. You were like, no, once you are on my schedule, once I have something on my schedule, it's on my schedule.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. That's excellent. Now, Joe, you are a videographer, a
Hmm.
photographer, you are a cinematographer, you are a bodybuilder, a YouTube personality, and so many a barber.
Yes.
Can you walk us through? But these days, I could see that you are a lot more focusing on the videography, photography type of work. But did you want to walk people through? I mean, because this is definitely working through creativity. Can you give us a little bit of your background as far as like how you started and that lane of work?
Well, um, so when I started college, I was a communication major, but I had really no passion into it. I figured maybe I'd get into advertising. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but what I did love, I love going to the movies. I love films, and I love art. I've always loved the arts, no matter what type of arts, the visual arts, whether it's film, whether it's photography, whether it's sculpturing, whether it's any of those things. So while I was in college at FSU, I took a photography class and I was hooked. And I was hooked. I found myself in a dark room working and just spending hours and hours. And I realized, wow, like I, time just passed by and I didn't even notice because I was so into what I was doing. So photography became a passion of mine. It became something that I actually enjoyed. So I was trying to figure out which form of photography. I was shooting everything, but my favorite subject, of course, became people, right? So human beings, became my favorite subjects to shoot. And one thing led to another, in which I moved back down to South Florida, and I was doing photography, portrait photography. I was shooting a lot of models at one point, and right now I cater to a lot of business professionals. And it's just been something that I enjoy. But also, I've always loved the film. I've always loved filmmaking, and since my since these days these cameras are hybrid cameras in which you can do video and photography. Well, I decided, oh, let me utilize this video portion of it, and then I created a production company, Apple Production, and partnered with my cousin, in which he's an amazing writer. So, he started writing these stories, and from there on, I decided to really focus on the cinematic aspect, on being behind the camera, but really having a photography background and understanding how to light a subject. So I kind of took that knowledge and understanding and applied it to filmmaking, to cinematography, and I've just been doing it ever since, and I enjoy it. I love it. So I'm also a YouTuber. You can follow me on Just Joe Thoughts, uh, in which I provide my perspective on mainly subjects about relationships, and because I feel like when I look at black relationships, we have kind of been falling apart, you know. And I grew up in a religious background. My dad was a preacher, and my both of my parents was in my life, even though they didn't quite work out together. I've had the benefits of having my mother always around and my father always around, and to be nurtured by the two of them and having a different learning different things from them. But those different that I've learned really helped me to be a balanced individual. So, but also seeing in terms of how the system as a whole doesn't necessarily, is not here to kind of keep families together. So I noticed there's a lot of issues in our community in which we're always fighting against one another, and we have forgotten our roles, where the men have become more feminine and the women have become more masculine, and in doing so, it is very, very difficult to sort of like find that balance to work with one another, because we definitely need one another. We definitely need family. We definitely need to be able to properly work and communicate and function as a family, as a community, because when we're all just individuals and thinking we can do it all by ourselves, then it is easy to be distracted. It is easy to be conditioned to follow certain perspectives that doesn't necessarily serve us as a community, serve us as a family. And I firmly believe that women is pretty much the foundation of civilization, and if you destroy women in their train of thought and how they think and what they feel and believe about themselves, that will extend to children, and the children will be developed with characteristics and behaviors and thought processes that doesn't help them to know and understand their roles as individuals and what they can bring into the family structure. So, my YouTube page is predominantly catered to sort of help bring us together, to help the men to understand that, you have a duty in being a man, to know exactly what it is to be a man, so you can be that provider, that protector, so you can stand on your masculine and stand on your principles and having integrity as a man, so you can be what a woman actually needs, and also vice versa, where a woman can understand her role as a woman and the importance of that role and the importance of being feminine and the importance of understanding her power in her feminine qualities, and how she can really manipulate the direction of the world if she can grasp the power of her feminine energy, because men follow that feminine energy, and when women behave like men, it's somewhat becoming very competitive within men and women, and when a man behave like women, you're competing with what a woman is, and it's not right. It's imbalance. It doesn't help the family. It leaves the children confused, not knowing who they are, what their roles in society. So that's pretty much what I've grown up to believe, and my YouTube page is focused on that perspective.
Wow, you definitely opened a can of a door that I wasn't necessarily going to go in with you today. But since you
Yeah.
open it, I really like it because I follow your YouTube and I used to follow you on Facebook. And
Yes.
I did find that you had a lot of thought provocative because I used to die on the comments because sometimes some of the statements would get people extremely
Yeah.
upset in their feelings. You know, people would get very, very mad. Now, two things. We're going to talk photography, but now that you've opened this door and you have your thought process, which is just Joe, but your thought process here explain your YouTube. Because if someone just comes on your YouTube, it would feel or probably look just a little bit provocative because you're just blunt with what you're
Yeah.
saying. Now, you talk a lot about feminine energy, masculine energy, which so many people are easily wanting to talk about
Mm-hmm.
it. But do you find, because let's just be really honest, I live in Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we all know what's going on in Haiti, which is
Mm-hmm.
not the only country that now you have a disperse, right? You have an Africa of Haitians that have migrated into the United States. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing for people who are living in countries like Ukraine in Africa. They are migrating into Europe, right? But how does a man or a woman, I mean, when you get displaced like that, I mean, you are in a survival mode. Are we correct? And if we are correct, you two are from
Yeah.
Haiti. I mean, your parents are from Haiti.
Also from Haiti.
So
In Haiti.
you are from Haiti as well?
Yes. Yes. I
Oh,
was born in Haiti.
vous parlez créole?
We parle Creole.
Ah, okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay, but confirm.
Yeah.
So,
I,
So, Joe, how does, I mean, let's just be really honest. How does a family that is living a country like Haiti and traveling, or even occurring anybody, you know, now these people are, we have to think about language barriers. We have to think about the stress. Let's think about what that person has been through. And then now that person is going into a country like the United States, it's survival instinct. Even myself, every time I have to go back over there, it's a different mentality. I'm definitely not in that whole feminine, pretty. I may just be to travel. Once you get there, you know, the United States is a country where you have to grind. I mean, you know that. The United States is a country where, you know, if you don't grind, if you don't have any cash, you can't live. So how does one and how does a family structure how does a man stays in that masculinity, allowing his woman to stay in that feminine energy if the couple or if people in general, society in general, is going through such displacement? How can you explain that?
well, America is predominantly, it's about money, right? So, this whole feminist movement was pretty much created so you can have more women in the workforce, right? So if you go back into the 1940s, 1950s, right? I mean, let's just, excluding black people, right? Because black people as a whole have always worked in America. Black women have always worked in America. So there was never a point in time in which women was not working in America. And however, there's this idea of the black man is, of men in general, is the provider. Yes, of course, the duties and role of a man is not just to provide, but to protect, to make sure that your family and your woman is safe, because she holds the key to your future, right? There is no future without women. However, in America, everything is about power and money, right? So we live in a capitalistic democracy, not just a democracy, but a capitalistic democracy. So in order for more money to be made by businesses and corporations, and to even tax more people, you need more people in the workforce. So the best way to do so is to find ways to get women operating more into the workforce. And when there's more women into the workforce, then more women can be taxed, more people can be taxed. However, there's this idea that has been being pushed in the community. especially the Black community, that you can do it all by yourself, right? And we're not supposed to do anything by ourselves. You know, men should not be doing anything by himself, and women should not be doing anything by herself. But we have this idea that we're supposed to be independent of each other instead of being codependent on each other. So this independent ideology is an ideology that was brought up to condition us, to make us feel that we don't need each other, more specifically to make women feel that they don't need men. Where women start making money, where now she's making the money, so what is the use of a man, right? So now it's providing this perspective that the purpose of a man is to just pay her bills, when a man's purpose is far much greater than just providing and just paying her bills. Because a man have pretty much instincts of their environment. A man is more thinking about protection. So when I'm out with my woman, and we're going someplace, I'm not just out with her. I'm I'm observing my environment with her. She's just there with me to enjoy and have a great time, but I have to make sure that what's happening within our environment, that she is safe with me, right? That she's protected. I have to look around and see, because, I've been in situations where you step aside for a second, and then somebody is disrespectful to your woman, right? And as a man, you want to make sure that she's protected. But when we can see that a woman don't have that protector, then it's easy for her to become, to become a victim to predators in society, right? But when people can see that this woman is protected, then people are going to think twice about how they approach and deal with this woman. So it is easy to target women, vulnerable women, and vulnerable women are women who don't have a man around them to make sure that they're protected. So my perspective is really understanding that we have to cooperate, we have to work together. And yes, some of the things that I say, some people will find it very offensive, right? But then again, when you look at the history of all of our great leaders, right? Whether you're looking at Bob Marley, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so many others, right? People were heavily offended by them. When there was never a time in which right people was not offended by righteousness. So even when you look at, for you that are Christian, when you look at Jesus, there were many people that was offended by Jesus. There were many people that was offended by righteous teachings, and that's because they were conditioned to living a lifestyle that doesn't benefit them, but it only benefits those that are in control, and those that have power, and those that are taxing the people. So if you're offended by the truth, then it's just shows that, okay, well, you're not fully aware of truth. You're not fully aware of what is actually good for you, because majority of your life you have been trained to think in a way that is not good for you. And that's pretty much why. So it doesn't bother me that people may get offended by me, because I understand where they're coming from. I understand their conditioning. As human beings, we're very easy to manipulate. It's not very hard. All I have to do is, if I know what you believe in, then I can attach a particular ideal to your belief. And the more that I utilize this idea to your belief, then you will eventually start holding on to it, and it will become a part of your life. So it's not easy to, I mean, it's not difficult to to deceive people at all, and most people are being deceived, and that's just the reality of it. And when you tell them something that they need to hear, it's not going to feel good. Medicine doesn't always taste good or feel good. When you're training to work your body, it's hard at times. You're going to stress your body out before your body start benefiting from it. So things that are often good for us, it tends to be a struggle for us in the beginning.
Wow, you are extremely passionate with this particular topic. Now,
Mhm.
two things. The first thing is I agree with everything that you say, except the part where you say that you feel like the majority of the women who are vulnerable are women who are not protected by their men. Now, perhaps you saying it by their men because, you know, in our Haitian society, having a brother is also having a protector. Having your father is also, you know, having a protector. But I've been single for a very, very long time. And I wouldn't necessarily place myself in the category of a very vulnerable woman where any man can just walk up to me and want to attack me. But I attribute it to my spirituality. I find that if an individual, whether a man or a woman, is able to definitely strengthen that spirituality, you're not necessarily vulnerable to other people wanting to attack you, even if you're walking alone, if you are by yourself. I feel like your aura can also place, you know, a pretty strong protector around you. But after that, I definitely agree with everything that you say. And I want to know that do you have those strong, independent thoughts because of your family structure, because of your parents?
Okay, you said something very important, right? So the aura in which how you carry yourself, right? It can affect how people deal with you. Now, if you're a single woman and the way in which you carry yourself, where your body is overly exposed majority of the time, where the first thing that somebody sees is not your mind but is your body, then yes, you're making yourself vulnerable for you know, for any man to come and do whatever to you. So how you carry yourself as a woman is extremely important, you know. So of course this is very anecdotal because you're speaking of yourself and how you carry yourself, right? So there are anomalies out there. However, when you look in terms of society as a whole, how majority of women are carrying themselves, how they are dressing, how, you know, showing their body parts is normal, and if women are carrying that particular behavior without having a man, and most men would not want their woman to carry that type of behavior, right? So yes, in a sense, you know, it's not you know, because you're single, you don't have a man, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're prone to attack, right? So this is not an absolute that I'm making here. However, right, the chances are greater because there is no male protection. Now, you know, having fathers, having brothers, which is a great thing because they can be there for you, but they're not always there for you. They're not always going to be there, you know. So who's always going to be there and who should always be there for you? Your man, your husband, right? So when you have a husband and he's a good husband, a strong man based on what you choose, because like we choose each other, right? So at the end of the day, like, you know, as men, we have to be careful with what type of women that we choose, and as women, you have to be careful with what type of man that you choose as well. So when you have that, he become an added protection to your life. He becomes a provider for your life. He becomes somebody to help you to feel safe and secure because you want to live your life and you want to live your best life, you know. And his duty is to make sure that you can do that, that you are free to express yourself and live your best life because you have that safety, you have that protection. You know, you can hold him and you know that he can hold you. You know when you're vulnerable, you have a strength right next to you that can be there for you to support you in the ways that you need. You know, so I completely agree and understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't necessarily negate what I'm saying as well.
You
I,
know, do you
yeah,
have
go ahead.
strong,
Go ahead.
yeah, do you have strong opinions because of your upbringing?
Well, I was brought up, you know, under a Christian household, right? My dad was a minister, and I've had the pleasure of seeing how other many other ministers operate, and majority of them I would disagree in terms of how they conduct themselves as supposedly men of God, right? When a lot of them, that's their title, but that's not who they are truthfully. And I was blessed to say that my dad was, one of those that I can say somebody that really did his best to be a servant, to serve the people, to serve humanity, to do the right thing. So my upbringing, in ways in which my dad has raised me, he's raised me to be a seeker of truth, to be a seeker of knowledge. Never get comfortable thinking that you understand and you know it all, because there is always more to learn. There is always more to gain, from society. And I've witnessed my dad, coming from Haiti, having a particular train of thought. And then the more he lived in America, his train of thought evolved, where he had a perspective of African Americans. And even with that perspective of African Americans, which you understand, most Haitians, especially coming in the 80s, you see African Americans, you think, oh, they're no good. They're no good. They're bad, But my dad put me and my brothers into an African American church. My dad, even though he had those thoughts, he placed himself within that community that he thought was no good, because he wanted to see for himself, right? So he did not want to have his perspective, which was misconstrued by society, because of course, back in the 80s, right, African Americans were told one thing about Haitians, and Haitians were told one thing about African Americans, which was pretty much keeping us divided, right? And I've witnessed my dad, go beyond these divisive thoughts to sort of like uh, embrace the African American community, and to really see for himself, the type of people within that community. And I was brought up in an African American church. I sang in the African American choir. I was a usher in the African American church. So I was raised within that community, and then at home, and then around my friends, I hang around a whole bunch of Haitian friends. So I was able to sort of like embrace not only my own culture, but African American culture. So African American culture became a part of who I am. That they were my friends. They are my friends. And I've been able to learn the history of America, of Black Americans, and witness and see what they have gone through, and also be subjected to many of the racism and prejudice that they have gone through. I've witnessed it and experienced it myself as a Black man in America. So I understand their plight, but also I have a Haitian background. I understand and know what Black power truly means, when in Haiti, all of your leaders are Black. All of your leaders look like you. The people that are in power looks like you. So you come here in America, you see a whole bunch of Haitians that comes here. We definitely look at America as a land of opportunity, and we take that opportunity to improve our lives. Where here in America, you have plenty Haitian politicians, Haitian businessmen and businesswomen that are successful, that are doing great things in America, and taking advantage of the opportunities that are there, and not making excuses for anything, because that's what we were raised within our Haitian background and heritage. So that's pretty much, who I am and why I am this way, because of my mom and my dad. My mom, she was a hustler. Okay, my mama opened up the Haitian restaurant. She worked in other restaurants, and for a long time, she was cooking meals, and she had her own food truck before the food truck was a thing. It was a van, but she had, she was doing that, and making her money. She bought a home, and she was able to really progress in life because she was a hustler. And me, my brothers, like, we've learned from what our mom did, because we've seen her as a hard worker. So my perspective, like, to me, like, uh, women work. From my perspective, my mom worked. So, like, my mom handled her business. So when I look at women, well, man, have to do this, have to do that, have to do this, have to do that for me. I'm like, you're not a white woman in America. you're a black woman, your mama, your grandmother, your great grandmother, they all have worked. So we're buying into ideas that is not even our own, right? So, like, so this feminist movement is really about taxing women. It's really destroying the minds of women and the minds of our community. And I remember, where welfare, you cannot have a man in the house in order to get that welfare check. So if women wanted that welfare money, a man cannot be in the house. This is a government system that was making sure that there's no man in the house in order for you to get that welfare check. So of course, this was mainly about separating families. So, and I've seen my mom and my dad, they didn't always quite get along. My mom, she was an independent woman. I'm not going to front. She was a worker, a hard worker. My dad, he was a preacher. He was a man of the cloth, and he was very strict. But he stand on his integrity. But even though they had their differences, they loved each other, they respected one another, and they never stopped each other from being a parent. My dad never got in my mom's way from being a mother, and my mom never got in my dad's way from being a father. So, and I was able to learn from the two of them, and I was able to really grasp something great from the both of them. And and I miss them dearly. Both of my parents are not here right now, but they were a major influence in who I am today.
Wow, you are very, very passionate. You're giving me such different energy today. I don't know what's going on. You're giving me like some powerful, some strong energy, and I love that. I really feel like people who are going to tune in and who are going to like listen to you after, they're definitely going to take in everything that you say, and I love that. Now, Joe, um, how do you how do you see the heavy immigrations that is going on from Haiti into the United States? Are you seeing an impact? Have you noticed an impact? Are you seeing a difference into maybe the cultural situation? For example, those of us who are here in Haiti, we are noticing that little Haiti is having a surge of cultural activities because there are so many, Haitians that are not only over there, but also because of the situation in Haiti. And there's different type of opinions with those of us who are here in Haiti who are feeling like people that are living abroad, Haitian Americans or Haitian who have immigrated, should take a stance into what Haiti is currently facing politically, and we're feeling like all or most cultural events should stop. Whereas, you do have another factor of people saying that, well, no, there is still, a certain level of celebration that as a Haitian community, we have to continue to take, put ourselves together and do. So I want to hear your perspective in terms of like, maybe what you have observed with the change with the African immigrants. Just the other day, I was watching some type of Republican Congress thing that they were having, and they felt very, I do believe that it was from your either mayor or, some big head over in Florida, and they were feeling very alarmed, saying that, they are feeling like too many Haitians are coming in here. So how do you see that that shift happening? How do you see, or have you noticed a difference in the migration of Haitians over there?
Well, okay, I'll say that, if Haitians want to come to America, they should just let them come, because America's greatness has a lot to do with Haitians. Period. Haitians fought in the American Revolutionary War. You had Tuskegee Airmen, which were Haitians. All right, the Louisiana Purchase was made because of Haitians. So America's greatness is really due to Haitians. Right, Chicago was founded by a Haitian. All right, so people they don't understand the history of Haiti and what Haiti have done to the contribution of America. And if they refusing Haitians to come in, they just plain ignorant to that history, plain and simple, right? I've come across African Americans who say I should not speak on African American stuff. I don't care. I don't listen to them because I understand that there's a level of ignorance. They don't know any better. and I can't be mad at somebody who don't know any better. So, I just hope that they would do more research and see that a lot of the greatness that they have is because of Haiti, right? Haiti, the many of the issues that Haiti is facing today is because of 1804. Is because Haiti was the first black independent nation to gain their independence. It was never given to Haiti. Everybody else, their independence was given to them. Haitians took theirs. And as Haitian people, we understand that. We have a pride about that. We understand that, no, I'm not asking you to give me a damn thing. I'm going to take what actually belongs to me. And if Haitians want to migrate here to the United States, open up the borders for Haiti because they have done a lot for America, plain and simple.
Ou pral moun yo manjo apres diskusyon sa.
You know what? They fine. They can be upset about it, but it's the truth. You don't have to like the truth, but the truth is the truth. Okay? So, and you have some Haitians who don't even understand this history as well. You know, who want foreigners to continue to occupy Haiti, way in which they feel that is best for themselves. And right now, the problem with Haiti is that there's too much foreign intervention in Haiti, occupying Haiti and stripping Haiti of its resources, stripping of Haiti of all of these minerals and precious resources in order to put wealth into their pockets. And Haiti is pretty much the Congo of the Caribbean. And many folks don't even realize that, right? Like you look at the Congo in Africa, extremely wealthy, but the people are extremely poor. How is that? How is the land in which you reside in is extremely wealthy, but you yourself are poor. And everybody else that comes into that land is getting wealthy from it. And that's what is happening in Haiti. And some people are aware of that history and are aware of who they are and where they came from. So I understand, where I came from. I understand, the Dessalines, what he meant to the Haitian people, and that type of spirit and that type of energy to be able to fight for what is yours, because you have to take it. Nobody's going to give it to you, So, I mean, it is what it is. And some people, a lot of people are starting to wake up, because I remember when I came to America in the 80s, Haitians weren't accepted. Haitians were made fun of, and over time, when they start seeing these same Haitians are making more money, are opening up businesses, once upon a time, there were 6 banks, 6 black-owned banks run and owned by Haitians, in South Florida, right? People don't know that, right? There are a lot of business owners that are Haitian, and people start seeing that, wow, these Haitians are getting money, because in America, the only thing that people respect is money. They don't respect you unless you have money. And that's the mentality that needs to change, that needs to switch, but Haitians has been getting it, because we understand we are a very, very prideful people. We're not here to beg for anything. We're here to work our butts off, because that's how we were raised. We were raised to work. We were raised to go out there and get it, and don't make any excuses. Many Haitians weren't capable of voting. So how were they able to obtain a lot of the respect, a lot of the income, the businesses? Because they went out and get it. They understand that, look, this is about economics. And, like in America, a lot of us just focus on voting. I'm getting into a little politics, which I don't really do much. We just focus on voting, and then we just leave it alone. And we just think that that's all we have to do, go to a ballot, and we leave this person in charge. But yet we don't understand the many corporations that are funding them. We don't understand the backdoor deals that are happening with them, and we're not checking them. We're not going into our town halls to have these meetings to see what is happening in our own communities, right? You look at Haiti and you see that Haiti is always, the people are always there. Hey, what's happening with our government? What's going on with our government? What's going on with our people? So right now you have this they call them a gang leader. That's code word for, and they don't want to call this man a Haitian revolutionary, which pretty much what he is in this time, where all he's trying to do is help liberate the people and allow Haiti to govern themselves. Where the president was assassinated, and then we had an interim president, and Haiti was not even allowed to even elect their own president, so they can be governed by somebody that they want. So of course there's going to be issues, and we can go back from the Papa Doc, Baby Doc, Duvalier, how these folks was pretty much working for foreign interests, and the Haitian people, they noticed that, and which is why every single one of them had to escape Haiti, because the Haitian people was not going to allow this person that's supposed to represent us but are not representing us. They're representing foreigners. They're representing foreign corporations and foreign businesses, which doesn't serve the Haitian people. So, Haiti knows their history. They know, look, we gained our independence and we fought for it, and they're not willing to back down, and they will continue to fight. Coupe tête boule caille. That's what it was about. Let's take this cow with you and let's burn. Haitians can be some very severe, tough, hardcore people with some integrity behind it.
Wow. I'm loving the conversation. A lot of passion.
Yes.
Now the internet is buzzed out. I try to stay away from it when I'm not working because I can see, and it's so. I saw it coming a mile away, which probably those who are in power are having a lot of difficulties to do the things that they used to do in the past, because you definitely have a generation that has already empowered themselves. You have a youth, people that are, because you already have, if you're thinking about even my generation, you have people who already have teenagers who are already immigrants. So their perspective and their views on international politics, on what's going on in Haiti, is very strong because they're meeting those American politicians heads on. And I love to see it because the other day they had a meeting, supposedly a meeting at the CARICOM, and there were no Haitian representative. It was Canada, it was the United States, it was Jamaica, it was Guyana, I believe, but there was not one representative from Haiti, and the internet went crazy about that, about saying that why are we having discussion about Haiti, but there are no Haitian representative for Haiti. So I'm guessing that they are having some issues. They've been parading the entire country because I can hear helicopter and everything since this early morning. However, it's great to be online. It's great to have a voice, but I want to know from your perspective, are people organizing themselves in the United States or in your state and are really voicing out their opinion? Because it's two different things to have, many people have opinions and thoughts online, but it's another thing because this is why I try to empower people and I let them know that, but you also have to meet these people where they act, because they are, at the end of the day, they are the one who are signing the dots. They are the one who are still continuously being able to take on those decision makings that are affecting us. So are you seeing in your state that people are actually organizing themselves, going back to what I'm saying to you, where you have people who are in Haiti who are feeling like okay, we're not seeing really the support from the international community, the Haitian diaspora, because you guys are going along and continuing your lives where we are literally, it's hell for us here in Haiti. So there needs to be some type of strength, sometimes of comme te ka di sa, kakou, un bras, l'autre bras, kote ke comme si the Haitians that are over there, you guys are really putting in the works. Are you seeing it?
In America, we're like a whole bunch of dogs that can only bark but has no bite. And what I mean by that is we talk, but the most we'll probably do will probably march, and that's it, because we've been conditioned to have I need a savior mentality. So we'll pray to Jesus and hope he handles it. We'll pray to God and hope that he handles it. right? Where we're vote a politician in and hope that that politician handles it, but we're not willing to do anything. That is the mentality of Americans. And for many of us that are growing up and buying into the system of America, that's how we have been conditioned to think, So nobody is actually getting active, right? Nobody is trying to get active because we see the atrocities of things that are happening. And the most we'll do is, petition your politicians, right? That's it. That's the most that we would do, right? Because that's the American mindset. It's not just a Haitian thing, it's America as a whole, right? We see what was happening in Israel and Palestine and whatnot. And many of us just, we put a post on Instagram and we felt like, yay, I did something. I posted on Instagram. Yay, I did something. I shared what I thought on Facebook, right? But none of us is saying, you know what? I'm not going to your store. I'm not buying your product. I'm not going to boycott these companies, these corporations that are funding the atrocities that are happening. None of us are doing any of that. We understand that everything is capitalism, but we are not taking a capitalistic approach and stopping those from that are actually contributing to the things that we don't want. So we just talk. That's it. We talk. A lot of Haitians here, that's all we do is talk. We're not willing to do the work. We're not willing to actually support one another. We're not willing to even support those businesses that are helping our people. In fact, when it comes to those businesses, we often speak very negative of ourselves. We often speak very negative of our own people. That's the mentality, right? So when you turn on the television all the time, and what do they show us that is black? Mostly entertainers, mostly singers, rappers, athletes. That's what they show us. They will come to Lil Wayne and ask him what he thinks about politics. They will go to Cardi B and ask her what she thinks about politics. They're not asking, the general black folks, because when they do, when black people take a very conservative approach about what is the right thing to do, that particular approach is shunned. That particular approach is condemned. So we're not allowed to even be conservative. We're not even allowed to even chastise our own people who are taking an approach of being very compliant to a system that doesn't even help them. So most of us are pretty much just actively are actively operating within the system to really not really serve ourselves. We're not serving ourselves and we don't even realize it. We don't care. We don't have time for that. We still got to pay our bills. Kids still has to get fed. It's like, yeah, I hear you, but I got problems here too. Okay. But then our government would take money instead of funding us and helping us with our problem here. No, they're going to spend that money over there, right? And not help us. And then the most that we said we need to do is just go vote. None of us is challenging all of these corporations. We still, like we see what's happening in the Congo, right? But most of us still are buying our iPhones, our iPads, all of these products that young black kids are dying for in these mines, and we still buying the products that they're dying of. So we're a bunch of talkers here. Like, we're a bunch of cowards, really. To be honest, Americans are a bunch of cowards. Americans don't really have a backbone. We'll say America is the best, but that's all we'll say. Would we actually get up and do anything? We'll probably go ahead and protest and march. But as soon as we're done with that protest and march, we'll go back into these stores. We'll go back and we'll go online and shop and buy and spend money with all of these companies who are involved in all of the problems that we are complaining about. So we're part of the problem and don't even realize it. And that only speaks to our own ignorance as a people. We don't know any better. And because we don't know any better, we can't do better. Although we feel like this is not right. But then we don't have any leaders that is telling us, well, if you want to fix this, then stop supporting this company. Stop supporting this corporation. Stop putting your stock money into this particular business. But No one talks to us like that. We don't look at it from a capitalistic perspective. We don't. We only see democracy without capitalism. That's where it's at. So I don't think much is going to be said or done. You know, we're conditioned.
Yeah, I really agree with you. And I do agree, and I'm really happy that at the end you said what you said because, I mean, when I think about, the people who follow me and everything that I have to say, they are too conditioned. Even if they could see, they probably don't know how to start and say that, okay, I'm going to take a stance on that. And you know what? I'm going to go even further down and tell you that, you just mentioned, and I agree, that there are so many Haitian people that are now in position in politics. But what are they doing? Don't you have, you guys have like this porte parole, her name is Jean-Pierre something. She's from Haiti. She's of Haitian descent. She works with the Biden administration. But what are their stance toward Haiti? Those are the same people that are funding the chaos that are happening here in Haiti. So in my opinion, going from also when someone questions and say, well, why are you in Haiti? You could be doing this work elsewhere, because it's such a different realities. There is no, I mean, I don't think that anyone would understand the livelihood of Haiti, even the own Haitian people. I do not believe that they really fully understand the depth of what they have been going through since prior to the assassination of the president. With this assassination of the president, it has been complete hell. And I watched the president of Haiti be assassinated, and people go about their day as if nothing happened. Whether here in Haiti, whether in other Caribbean countries, whether the Haitian international, the international community, and that says a lot about not only Haiti being alienated, but also about Haitian people. Like, how are we living as a society? About us being from Haiti, those of you who are in the diaspora, whether in the US, whether in Canada, there was not any heavy protest from the international community about the assassination of the president of Haiti, and then you have all these mess going on here in Haiti. I mean, Joe, we could go on and on, but I have to go back to photography, because, I mean, we could be here forever if we had to talk politics, talk what's going on here and everything that's going on. But you are multifaceted. I'm so happy that I'm having those conversations with you, because I could see that you are well aware of your country. You understand that, this is a land that is rich. You understand the mineral resources. And I do see a lot of people posting a lot of TikTok about, mineral resources that are happening here in Haiti. I cover it as well. I cover the United Nations Agenda 2030, and why they want such a force to come down to Haiti in order to be able to dictate, to continue to mine unlawfully, illegally, and to bring about the resources that they don't have. What people are not understanding are that countries such as the United States, countries such as France, they don't have those natural resources. Having full type of electricity, they don't have those natural resources, but they are able to tax on countries in Africa, countries in Haiti, and continue to do their BS. But the world is waking up, and it's a fight. I don't know if you are aware, over in Africa, you have, the Niger, you have Burkina Faso, you have the Mali, who they've given their coup d'etat, and they're doing big things over there. Hopefully the youth, the African American, the Haitians that are over there are actually following what's going on in Africa, because that's really important. Because those of us who are here, we understand that it's a fight, but it's very different for us. So I don't know where we are. They're literally trying to throw down our throat anything. I mean, it's been hell for us. It continues to be hell. But, we're here, we're praying, we are doing what we can, and we are watching the development. But also, it's very important. It's not only to elect people who are going to serve you, but to actually give power to people who are going to be in the interest of your country. because you have all these things that you have here, because you have people who are in leadership positions, but they are serving not even their own interests, they are serving foreign interests, as you said. So I'm so happy to hear that you are very well aware of the issues of your country and the why behind all of those things. Now, you mentioned that now you are working with organization, and I could see that it's kind of like, I don't want to say an elevation, but of course, there's always going to be a difference when you start to work and you're kind of like, how do they say it? It's not necessarily pro bono, but you know how you do things for free just to build on your portfolio. You just want to build on to now becoming a full businessman. And I want to hear from you, how do you get a seat at those tables? How do you get those contracts? How do you get to work with organizations? How do you get noticed in your field?
Well, you know what? The best form of advertisement is word of mouth. So, and really, always have to be careful how you entertain strangers, right? So, if you're there to work, you want to give your best. You want to represent yourself well, and you want to respect those that you're working with and working for. So and a lot of it has to also do with, it matters who you know, right? So for me, I've been fortunate to work with some people who are already heavily connected, and through their connections, I've been blessed to sort of like gain access to their connections, and mainly because of being respectful within myself, and also being respectful of them, and seeking to not to please, but to go above and beyond their needs, to make sure that they are happy with your service. So as a businessman, in owning my own business, it's important for me to make sure that everyone that I work with is happy with the work that I provide for them. And there are moments where, yeah, I did work for nothing, because if, like, for the most part, if I see that you're doing something and I believe in what you're doing, if I believe in what you're doing, you may not have the funds, but and if I can contribute to what you're doing, then I will contribute in whichever way that I can, because I believe in you. So, and which means, I may provide my services without expecting anything in return, because since I believe in you, I want to see you succeed. So your success is also my success, right? So I understand that, nobody makes it by themselves, right? We need each other. So who I am as a human being, I need the cooperation of others, which means I must also cooperate with others, which means what I want from others, I must be able to provide that as well, right? So if I want respect from others, then I must give respect, right? I must not look down upon others. I must look at others as, as just another human being, who is also capable of greatness, but also capable of, being shady as well. So, we have to depend on one another, but also understand that we need one another, and we have to cultivate one another. So your growth will help my growth, right? So if you're successful in what you're doing, and I'm here on this platform with you, then your success will only help to elevate me, right? So I have to be respectful with who you are and what you're doing, and be very appreciative of that, because you're bringing value to me, and I as well bring value to you. So we have to look at things in that perspective, that we bring value to one another, right? Nobody makes it by themselves in this world. There is no self-made at all, and that's a term that we hear a lot. I'm self-made this. Nobody is self-made. Everybody needed the aid and the help of somebody else. And for those who think that they are self-made, then they're pretty much blinded to the reality of how the universe functions, because the universe is cooperate with one another, right? We need the moon as well as we need the sun, as well as we need the air, the ocean, and all of the animals within and each other. Because who am I without your presence? Who am I without the presence of other people, that's in my life? Because I'm only able to be who I am and excel and whatever I excel because of the impact that I make on other people. So I have to respect other people. I may not we may have differences. However, even with differences, I have to respect you as an individual, because there's a lot in which I can learn from you, even if I disagree with you. There's a lot in which I can gain from you, even if I disagree with you. So we always impact one another, and there is always something that we can learn from each other, and especially learn from ourselves, because how you deal with me and how you treat me is a reflection of how I deal and treat you, right? So I don't have any issues with people. I've had the same phone number for what, since 1998. I've never changed it. I don't have people that is you know using my phone to try to plot against me, or what. I don't have any of that issue, right? So of course, not everybody will fit in my circle because of how I carry myself. If you're somebody who is disrespectful of yourself and I'm not going. There's no reason for us to be hanging around, because since I have respect for me, and I see how you handle yourself over there, I'm gonna stay away from you. And if you so happen to come into my presence and I have to deal with you, then you're going to learn immediately that you cannot deal in my space. I might be a little bit too blunt for you. I might be a little bit too honest for you. And you might be offended by my bluntness and by my honesty, not because I hate you or I have anything against you. No, because I love you. And I want you to be better. And I don't love you because I love you. I love you because I love myself. At the end of the day, I love you and I care for you because I love and care for myself. Because I am not myself alone. I am who I am, with you included. That's how I see life.
Man, I don't know if you heard this, but I will say that you have grown a lot, because I interviewed you 2 years ago, but today, you're giving me like out of that. It's just like it's a different level. But I love it. I love it. It's like I feel like you have so much to say. Like one question is like there's not a definite answer. But what I also do notice is that you bring it to a people person, people relationships. And I really want people to understand that, because you don't do anything in this life without having built your people skills, your relationship. A lot of people are always thinking that it's about the money, but it's not always necessarily about the money. It's about the respect. It's about your integrity. It's about the way that you treat people. It's about building those relationships that are also building your catalog. It's probably why you get into some doors, and maybe someone who is a little bit more prominent than you, maybe someone who has a lot more following, a lot more visibility than you, is not necessarily able to get into that particular door, because you do have people skills, because you are a man of value, because you are a man of your word. And I'm saying so because I've worked with you 2 years ago, and I've dealt with here and out, and it's always been a steady. It's never been a bad vibe. It's always been, yes, I can do so. This is how I can do it. This is how I can't do it. And it's always been very, very steady. So of course, if there's a new project coming in, who am I going to call? I am always going to call you first before I call the next person, because of that relationship. And I feel like people miss those things. They do a lot of underhanded things, and they're not understanding that, as you say, the way that you treat people is a reflection of who you are. So I really love the way that you are, the direction and the way that you are answering those questions, because it shows a lot of depth. And I also love the fact that you are able to work with youth and those creative endeavors, because, coming from Haiti, And Haitian people are extremely talented and very entrepreneurial, and you do see a boom in the photography and the videography. People in Haiti, even with everything that we're going through, this is why I try not to focus so much on the chaos, because I want to show people that even with everything that Haitian people are facing, you still have people who go out every day who are taking pictures. You still have people who go out every day and they're trying, they're like, doing this content creator thing. They have their TikTok going on. But I really end those series that I bring in people who are shining without the spotlight, people who are being professional. What I want to teach them is that even when you are picking up your camera, even if you are picking up your phone and you're trying to do something, yes, your yes is supposed to be a definite yes. You're not supposed to back away from your words. You're not supposed to give people a mediocre word, because the work level that you give to one client, as you say, is going to trickle down as the word of the mouth. It's not only the Instagram, it's not only the TikTok, what people are seeing, it's what people are saying about you when you're not around. It's the way that people are going to talk about you, what they're going to say about you, that integrity, that level of professionalism. That's what's also going to grow your clientele. That's what's going to grow your portfolio and get you into those doors, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
now, one thing that I really want to talk about is the quality of equipment. I want to hear from your perspective when you are working, right? What do you feel adds more value into the work? Is it going to be the scenery? For example, when you're looking at a project and someone calls you out and they're having a shoot out, do you look at the scenery? Is it the equipment that you are going to bring into the project? What elevates that project, in your opinion, as a videographer, as a photographer? So let's just say that they're picking you for a project and they're picking the next person for the same project. What would you say is going to elevate and differentiate your project from the next person?
Well, equipment matters, but at the same time, it does not matter, right? So nobody approach a painter, an artist, and say, "Man, what type of paintbrush you use, what type of paint you use, because that's an amazing painting," right? So I've had people that say, "Oh my goodness, yo, your photography is dope. What type of camera you use?" And I find that, like, okay, well, it's not the camera, because I've seen people who have some of the top notch equipment, and then I look at their work and it's trash. It's not good. So having equipment or good quality equipment doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to use it, right? Just because you have hammers and nails don't necessarily mean that you can build a home, right? So having the equipment, you have to understand, it's only a tool, right? So you are not as good as your equipment. You are as good as you are, right? So you could give me the least, equipment, and I'll make the best out of it. I can produce great work with the most unprofessional equipment, because it's not the gear. However, yes, there's the equipment does make a difference in terms of the quality and what it can produce, right? But when you're an artist, because if it's, for me, being a photographer, being a videographer is not just somebody with a camera. You're an artist, and as a photographer, right, I pretty much paint with light. I'm utilizing lighting to tell my story. So I have to be able to understand what is it that I'm creating here, how how I am lighting the subject, or the composition, right? What's in my frame? What is just happening in the background, and also what is happening in the foreground? So I have to think about so many things, right? And how am I exposing it? How am I utilizing what this camera can do in order to create a great image, right? I'm gonna show you right here. This is the camera that I started off with. Okay, old school camera, but I guarantee you, I'm gonna take some dope photos with this. So it's not the camera. It doesn't necessarily make you a great photographer because you have a great equipment. So I think it is important to really polish your skills, to really understand your craft, whatever that craft may be. Get good at it. If if you have a cheap equipment, get great at the equipment that you have before you want to elevate. It's when once you reach the limitations of that equipment, then you elevate. You know, if you haven't reached the limitations of your equipment, there's no point in upgrading your gear as if that's going to make you better. So you have to be the artist that understand your art and what is it that you're creating, so you can you know be good at it. So I don't rely on equipment. You have people that argue about gear. Oh man, I'm gonna use Sony, I'm gonna use Canon, I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna use that. And to me, it's like, I don't care. Your gear don't mean a damn thing. What matters is you, the artist. Do you know what you're doing? And that's what matters at the end of the day. You could give me any gear, any equipment. If I understand how to utilize it, if I understand its functioning, then I will create the best piece of art that I can create based on my understanding and my perspective of art.
Wow, thank you so much. You really reassured me, and I love the answer because I too do YouTube and I do TikTok, and I'm loving my TikTok. But I have been so how can I say, like a little obsessed over buying like a lot of stuff, looking at the way that people are coming on YouTube and all that they are having. And I am going to say that depending on the camera, you may have a greater quality.
Yes.
So I have been a little stressed out over the fact that, damn, like I probably need to upgrade and I need to, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. But I always felt like also seeing people who work and, every year, every 2 years, upgrading their either their device, but it's like, did you reach that full potential of the device that you had at hand? Do you know
Mhm.
how it works? Do you know all the features that that camera has? A lot of time people buy a lot of different equipment, and as you say, they don't even know the full detail of the equipment. But then, Joe, I feel like you are a true artist. This is the mindset. The mindset you have is, since I relate to it, I feel like this is a creative mindset, which goes like, some people are just maybe a photographer or videographer, but I feel like for you it's deeper than that. You're just a true artist, like you are a true visual artist. You go beyond the equipment that you have at hand. Now my question to you is, did you go to school for that person? I mean, you did say that you went to school and you pick up the camera, but did you perfection your art with practice? Did you perfection that art, that craft with practice?
Well, like anything, school pretty much lays the foundation, right? It gives you the basic foundation of what you need to understand. However, you master your craft in the real world, real life experiences, right? So for me, no, I didn't perfect it while I was in school. I like, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still learning new things, new tricks. I'm still learning from other filmmakers. I'm still learning from other photographers, right? So I'm still, like, when I look at an image, I'm not just looking at the whole image. I'm looking at every detail of that image. I'm looking at the foreground, the background, the lighting, the different colors, the composition. I'm looking at so much. And, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know, what was the process? What type of reflectors that was utilized? What type of how did this photographer light this subject? So there's a lot of things that I'm looking at. So for me, like I still have I still have my photography book, in which I learned a lot from. So if it's important for you, right? If you really want to know, then study. YouTube, YouTube University. Pick up a book, read. See what else you can learn, what else you can implement into your craft. And don't ever think that you know it all, because you know, like you look at some, I look at some new photographers and I'm just amazed by some of the things that they're doing that I never thought of. I'm like, wow, how come I didn't think about that? Right. So, um, you know, because we're all different. We see the world from a different point of view, from a different perspective. So, you know, fully study your craft, you know, try to do your best at it, try to improve. You know, you should not be what you were a year ago. You should at least improve in some form, or way, or another. You know, if you haven't improved in your craft, improving your people skills, improving something, right? So there is so much to improving in yourself to actually elevate you as not just an artist but as a human being. So always seek that elevation, always seek that elevation mentally, physically, and spiritually, so you can always become, you know, a much better version of yourself. You know, so for me, that's what life is about. It is about learning from my mistakes and learning from the mistakes of others, but also learning from the progress of others and learning from my own progress. You know, always seeking to gain more knowledge and information, you know, and just learn to be better, because you can always improve. You know, we're not perfect. We're not made to be perfect. We're made to constantly grow. We're made to constantly evolve, you know. So, you know, I believe to continue the evolution of self, you know, and no matter how we choose to elevate, let's just continue that elevation.
Awesome. Now, Joe, we know that you are a very, very busy man these days.
Yes.
How can someone book you? If first, do you have any availability? Do you have your calendar? Now, what type of projects do you take on? How can an individual who is interested into working with you, how can they have access to you?
um they can always call me, right? They can always email me. But the best way to contact me is through calling or texting. If they're reaching out through me through social media, it may take some time because I like, yeah, sometimes I'm way too busy. But when, you know, if they have my phone number, which you will find on my social media. So if you go into my social media, Joe, like especially Instagram, Joe Wesley, you'll see my phone number, you'll see my email. You can go to my website and you can call me. And when you call me, you know, make that appointment, and you know, I'll pretty much see where I can fit you into my calendar. And once it's in my calendar, then it's happening, you know. And that's what matters. If it's not in my calendar, then we didn't talk, nothing happened. Like, you know, we entertain a conversation, but let's make it final. Let's finalize this and put it on the calendar, or send me a calendar invite, you know. So I give my email to folks who wants, you know, like the people that I work with, you know, especially the ones that I'm constantly working with. They have my email, joebwesley1 at gmail.com. And if they want me to participate with something for them, then just send me a calendar invite through that email and I will see it. I'll either accept, say maybe, or denied. Right? So if I can't do it, then it's denied. Right? If I can do it, then it's accept. Right? But of course we would have a conversation about that, about what is it that you need from me, and then of course we'll talk about what is it going to cost you and whatnot, you know, and move forward from that.
Okay, now going from that to wrap up, because I know that you have to go. I would love to keep you here for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But how do you choose the project, Joe? Like, do you choose, for example, how do you accept the project? Is it going to be the cost? Maybe if you're looking at it, if it's a big client and they have something going on and you're looking at it like the money is going to be good, do you look at that? Do you look at, is it an interesting project and you feel like it's challenging, but it's right in your lane? Is it something that maybe touch a little bit more deeper than that? How does someone like yourself, choose on a project? And also, I want to talk about costs. I want to talk about fees. How does a photographer, a videographer, a cinematographer, how do you, how are those fees? How do you bill a client?
Well, okay. So first and foremost, if I don't believe in it, then I'm not accepting it, regardless cost, right? If I don't believe in what you're doing, right? If let's say you need a videographer and you need me to do video or take photography of something that I find degrading, something that I don't believe in, I'm not taking it no matter the cost, right? So, my integrity comes first. So I don't want to just accept anything. Um, and secondly, if you need me for a particular service, I would tell you directly, okay, this is what my rate is going to be. Um, and when do you want to do this? Okay, great. Send me your email, your contact info, and I'll create an invoice for you and send that to you. And you can pay through the invoice, right? And we go from there. Depending on what I'm doing, I have rates for different stuff. Whether it's headshots, I have rates for headshots, rates for portrait photography, rates for videography service, whether it's a full day, like I have a day's rate or half a day rate. Depending on what is it that you're seeking of me, then I will tell you exactly what that cost and when I need my payment. Um, but if you're somebody and you have something and you say, look, I don't have much money, um, I may say, okay, you know what, go to this person, um, because if it's if like for instance, I once worked on a project for a young gentleman. He was about 18, 19 years old. He didn't have any money, but he created a clothesline, and he was just starting off, and he didn't have any money for it. And he was genuine, he was real. He told me, look, I don't have any funding, but I would love, and I worked with him. That doesn't mean I would work with everyone, right? So if somebody come to me with a genuine idea and they may not have the funds for it, if I actually believe in what they're doing, yes, I may work with them. If I don't believe in what they're doing, but yet if it doesn't necessarily violate my personal integrity, then I'm gonna have my costs. If you're not willing to pay my costs, then we can move on. We don't have to do it. So I don't accept every project. That is thrown at me. However, I do decide whether I would take it on or not, depending on what it is. So most people, for the most part, they see the work that I do and they come to me specifically for the type of work that I do. So I'm rarely ever denying anything, unless I can't do it on that day, unless I have something else that is happening. So it really depends. You know.
Do you work internationally? Do you accept international work?
Yeah, if they're willing to pay for my travel costs and food and pay for my services, of course. Just make sure I'm able to get there and leave safely and, and eat, and we're good to go. So, of course, yeah.
Great. Now, Joe, where can someone look at your portfolio? I mean, is it Instagram? Is it because you just described different type of service? So, but I usually felt like you do big, 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 like type of work because I see you. I don't know if it's because of the way that I've been following you. So I didn't think that you did headshots and I would say those simple services. But where can someone go and take a look at your work and see your portfolio, see what you got going on because you do a lot? Or did you want to describe a little bit for the public the type of services that you offer?
Well, if you go to joewesleydp, you will see everything. So it pretty much shows that I do events, I do headshots, I do portraits. It even shows you my videography work, whether I'm shooting music videos, whether I'm shooting events, and all types of stuff. So I do have a video reel of the many different projects that I've done compiled into one reel. So you can see that as well. So my website pretty much gives you everything that I do. So yeah, so that's definitely the best way to see everything. Joewesleydp.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed having you here. I would love to keep you here forever, but I know you have to go. One last thing that I want to know is that I know that you came to Haiti before, and you do have a vlog on your YouTube channel, a very, very old vlog, a family reunion vlog. And I want to know that if you feel that the political situation in Haiti is affecting your creativity, perhaps in the and the fact that maybe, Haiti is beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful country. And do you feel like you because of everything that is portraying, that you would be reluctant to come and get some work done in Haiti? Or do you feel like, no, in the future, where when there's maybe a little bit more stability, you would always want to come back and, get some work done here in Haiti? What's your thought on that?
Um, like I don't have a problem going through Haiti no matter what time, no matter what is happening in Haiti, because most of what is normally happening in Haiti is in Port-au-Prince, you know. So it doesn't represent all of Haiti. We're talking about a small portion of Haiti. So when I go to Haiti, I'm going to Pétionville, Thomas, Antigua, Vanguaf, all of these different areas, where you won't see a lot of these issues, you know. So Haiti is very beautiful, of course, but living in the States, we hear news about Haiti. It's always predominantly Port-au-Prince, but they don't say, oh, in Port-au-Prince. They say Haiti. So we just think the whole country is just in ruins, right? And a lot of people here don't really travel, don't really get to explore the world and see what else is out there. So people are coming from a very, 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 very narrow perspective based on what the media has provided to them. And of course, the media is not going to tell you what you need to know, right? So which is why we're living in a time where there are so many independent media out there where you can see many different perspectives, which is pretty much highlighting most of what is actually happening in the world, and opposed to what the main fake news is providing. So all of the major news media is providing a lot of fake news. It's news that is predicated upon their sponsors, right? So they have to service their sponsors first. So when you get a news that really affects sponsorship, you're not going to get real news. You're only going to get a portion of the news that may represent some aspect of truth and reality, but for the most part, you're not getting what you actually need to know and hear. So for me, yeah, like last I heard, they shut down the airport. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. But if I can go to Haiti, because when I visited Haiti, I see all of these foreigners walking around in Haiti like with no issues, no problems. I never hear them having any problems. You see Europeans all the time in Haiti living their best life. They don't have any problems. But then we in America being told that it's a shithole, but somebody else go and live in Haiti and it's paradise, right? So who should we believe in, right? The media, who is only there to condition us to have a very narrow perspective of Haiti, or go see it for yourself. And I've been blessed to see it for myself, to experience Haiti for myself, to see that it's not what you're being told it is. I would like to go back as soon as possible, because Haiti is pleasure for me. It is fun. It's
Do
good.
your brothers, do your brothers have the same views that
Of
you have?
course,
Do they?
of course, yes. They've visited Haiti and it's been the same for them. It's good vibes for them, So when I've gone to Haiti, it was always good vibes. It was always good times. So I don't remember experiencing Haiti and it was just bad times, right? I don't remember having that, right? So it is what it is. You can take that with a grain of salt if you like. However, I think it's always best to see the world for yourself, to see for yourself, because I think your own eyes, is better service to you than what somebody else is telling you.
Um, Mathaleme, I would love. I'll say it in English, but I would love for you to say in Creole.
Actuellement
Parce que nous get- eh?
pas trop bien.
But li pa rampil, on ti kal. I just want, par exemple, mwen gen an nouvo demography moun ki ap gade chanel mwen, e konversasyon sa m bral mette li sur YouTube.
Mhm.
So, kite yon mesaj pou nou menm ki an Haiti, pou yon jen kap gade ou. You're a young man, you're doing your thing, you love your country, you are very opinionated about your country. So you do have a public. So say in your language, diyo on bagay ki ka bayo courage, ki ka bayo yon ti espoir.
Wow, that is the most difficult question you asked me of the day. You know that, right? um, Continuez vivre, continue to live your life. How do you say in the best way that you can? How do you say that?
Ya, ou met di li kontinue viv parce que li important, li vraiment important pour jeunes qui en Haïti yo, pour moun qui en Haïti yo, pour yo gen yon sorte de support avec yon moun tankou qui fait bel travail, qui pas vraiment en Haïti, mais côté que ou capable shed on force pour nous-mêmes qui en Haïti pour capable voyer li. Parce que là, on a tant de conversations, ça me parle pour lui dire, oh, Tifisa, you know, she got it all, you know, she's not here, et pour la garder, but c'est toujours même nous-mêmes. So I love to always make sure that they get reinforced too, you know. So go ahead, ou di continuer vivre, but dans quelle capacité?
Um, Fais tout ça au capable pour vivre vieux. Um, yeah. Fais tout ça au capable pour vivre une bonne la vie. C'est pas celle pour vivre une bonne la vie pour tête pas, mais pour ta faire la vie en bon pour l'autre monde. C'est ça me gagne pour.
Okay. Great. Well, I don't know. Thank you so.
Pas trop bien.
I can see that. I can see. M'pense que ou bien la Creole, but maybe you are nervous to talk Creole. I don't know, but I really feel like I didn't even know. Hi! Oh my God! How is he doing?
Doing good. He decided to join me today right now.
Oh, that's so sweet. So thank you so much, Joe. I appreciated this talk. I learned a lot more. I feel like the first conversation that we had, we really stayed in that creativity, that professionalism. But you know, given the state of the world, it's so important. I mean, look at this world that we have in 2 years down the line. I feel like so much has changed. Even here, living in Haiti, believe it or not, I am completely raid in my neighborhood. We can't leave, you know, curfew at this and that. So it's definitely a changing world from 2 years ago. So I love the conversation. I love the depth that you brought. I love the way that you answered. I follow your work and I am so proud of you. I'm proud of the work that you are doing. And like I said, I cannot wait to work with you because you are an amazing photographer. Thank you so much for being here with me. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to say to the people.
Um, well, you know what? There's only one thing I want to say, and that is to you, and that is thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me this space to share my story, to be able to share with your audience who I am and you know me. So I appreciate that so much. Like I mentioned before, you know, we need one another. And you know, I'm nothing without you. So I appreciate that so much. So thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, the incredible, multi-talented Haitian American Joe Wesley. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. And people can follow you on Instagram. People can follow you on YouTube, your website. I mean, thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me. Appreciate you.
Have a good evening, Joe.
You too. Bye. Peace.